In more developed countries, homeschooling is not a new phenomenon. But when you come to Africa or Nigeria, homeschooling is just budding. And there's not a lot of information on homeschooling in our African context. And that's why I'm here. Today, we're going to be talking about if you want to start homeschooling in 2024, what do you need to do? First of all, we're going to start with your mindset. I want you to know that you are capable, you can do it. Have that at the back of your mind, because first things people will ask you is, oh, do you have a teaching degree? Or what do you want to teach your children? First, take out every fear that is associated with this new journey that you want to embark upon, and know for yourself that you are capable. All you need to home educate your children or your child is the love that you have for them first. I also want you to be sure that this is a decision you want to make and a journey that you want to embark on, not something that you start in the next 6 months, you stop, and in the next 1 year you stop. Because as much as children are resilient, you also don't want to be yo-yoing, taking them in and out of school, right? So it's ensure that you want to stick to your decision. The second thing I want you to do is deschool. Now, deschool yourself and deschool your child. And your child is dependent on if your child has been in a traditional setting before or not. If they have not, then you take your child out of the picture and deschool just yourself. And what does that mean? It means reorientating your mind around what school is about or what education is supposed to be, and you ask yourself a couple of questions that you need to understand your position when educating children is concerned. So in the description box, I will leave a link to where you can get this set of questions to ask yourself to deschool your philosophy and thinking around education. And if your child has been in a traditional setting before, I would want you to deschool them in the sense that you are taking them away from a system and putting them into this homeschool new thing, and to help them to change the way they think about what school is about. Because maybe for example, a child can think that, oh, what school is just about is going to this place, we have to wake up early, we have to do homework, we have to do assignments, we have to, and then they'll harass me if I don't get something right and things like that. Their thinking about education might have been warped, right? So you're getting them out of the system and trying to reorientate their mind into what your family will see education as, what education truly means, and helping them to have a love for learning. Now, that can mean that you're taking them out of the school system, and before you start whatever you want to start in your homeschool, you take like a 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, however long break you want to use to help your child to have a right mindset about education. However long you need to help your child. So, and then you take them away from that system that they know. So first of all, now what goes away first is maybe they don't have to wake up early, right? They can slowly ease into their day. That's one thing changing. And then it's okay, I don't require this much pressure from you when it comes to this, or you do away with the standards that were measured by this traditional system. And then it's like, okay, so what do you want to do today? We'll make a list of all the things that you are interested in, make a list of all the things that are fun for you, right? And then we'll start with those things. And as you are going along, you are helping them to also see that, okay, you can love education, you can love learning. Education does not necessarily have to be about doing homework or trying to get a certain answer right, or things like that, or helping them to build their critical thinking, or whatever it is that you need to work on to reorientate their mind. And number 3, I would love for you to align with your spouse on what you think education should be for your children. It's very important that you align with your spouse so that you guys are on the same page and you know what you are doing per time. So the other person knows what the other person is doing per time, because what that means is that while you are homeschooling, one person is going to be the primary caregiver and the other person will probably not work would probably be working, right? And they may not necessarily be 100% present, right? So, but they need to know what is going on so that you are aligned on the philosophy of the education that you are going to be using for your children. You are aligned on what's the next thing you're aligned on finances, you're aligned on what is going on in your home, so that there will be no pressure, and so that you will not feel, because I've seen in different contexts where, you know, the spouse is one of the spouses are not aligned, so it affects what you can do with your children. So if you are not aligned in your philosophy, and one person believes that you're supposed to um, world travel, and you cannot just up and take your kids and go without your spouse knowing what's happening, so that stifles what you want to do in your homeschool. That stifles how you think about homeschooling. So it's very important that you align together for these very reasons. Number 4, check what is obtainable in your country in terms of the laws of the country and what you are supposed to be doing. But to the best of my knowledge, it's only in South Africa that you have like a structure of, or you need to report to a certain, like, I think they call them province, what you are doing in your homeschool. But the other African countries, homeschooling is just like here and there. There's no like, oh, this is a definite rule for homeschooling and this is how you need to go about it, or you need to report XYZ every year. You need to, for the other African countries. So it's not illegal, and at the same time it's not exactly legal. So they don't say anything about homeschooling for most of the African countries, except that I'm aware of South Africa. So, but still check. And for us Africans, what is important for us is looking at what, when we look at the progression of education in our country, where do you think your child will still go back into the system? And for Nigeria, now we have junior secondary. You have to write in the exam to enter the junior secondary level, or you write primary 6 exam. That's the entrance exam, right? They call them entrance exam. You write that one. Then you also they write junior secondary like when you get to GSS3. But to be honest, I really don't know the use of that one. And then you write the SSC, that's the secondary school into university. So you write the WAEC and you write JAMB. That's for Nigeria. So you check for your country as well and look at where your child will probably enter into the system back, and what exams do they need to write, and then prepare them for those exams and register them for the exams. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, you can write in as external students to most of these exams, and then it's just for the primary education, like the primary living education exam, entrance exam into secondary school. Then I know that you have to enroll in a school, and I think you can enroll in a school, or you just take your child to a private school. At private schools, they have private exams that they write and you can just enter. So there's not so much like, oh, you're missing out, kind of. So as long as you know where you are supposed to enter, right, you know where you want your child to enter back, and you plan towards that, you know. And if your child is still maybe going to go abroad, you look at the things that are necessary for that stage, and then enter. That's just it, right? But in terms of legality, there's really nothing that you are free to homeschool in most of the African countries. Okay, so number 5, you want to look at your philosophy, the philosophy of education. There are different philosophies of education that are available. They are just people that looked at education, looked at children, look at how they learn, look at psychology of children, looking at all of these things together and forming different philosophies that will meet the children's needs, basically. So they're just these people that have formed ideologies, looked at how children learned, look at what children are doing, and formed an ideology around how children should learn, how they think, what you can do to get the best out of them, and things like that. So there are various of them available, right? So it's you to read up on them. It's for you to read up on them and see where you lie. Remember, in our initial list, we have looked at what we thought about education when we are deschooling, right? So you can now fit in all the things you know based off of all these philosophies. So I'll put a list of all the philosophies that are available, and I'll do a separate video on all these philosophies individually so that we can look through them, right? So it's for you to identify where you fit into these philosophies and pick one. Right? Pick one that resonates best with you and base your homeschooling off of that. And there are people that they find some philosophies in different philosophies, right? They find they resonate with different things on different philosophies and they adopt those ones, the different things here and there. So they come up with a cocktail of their own personal, philosophies, right, that they base their homeschooling on. So after that, we are going to go to step 6. And in step 6, we're looking at what we have based off our philosophies. We can now create a curriculum or get a curriculum based off of that philosophy that we have formed, right? So you are getting a curriculum that will help you to now do the actual teaching, to now do the actual guiding, to now do the facilitating. And then depending on the philosophy you choose, you can either get a curriculum or not, because there's one of the philosophies that says that you do not need a curriculum to educate children. The children are the curriculum. So you know that for that one, you're going to skip the step 6, right? So, but if you are in the philosophy where you do need a curriculum, then you find one that you need or you create one yourself. So there are people that actually do create curriculums themselves, and there are people that just buy something that people have already done. So if I realize that my own philosophy, I resonate more with the classical homeschool philosophy, and then I buy a curriculum that is based off of the classical education, right? Boxed curriculum, I just get it. It has everything I need, and then I use it. So now, right, you have your philosophy, you have your curriculum, and the next step is for you to find a community. Find a community of like-minded people that are already homeschooling and going on this journey that you want to go on this journey with, right? You are either finding a friend that is already homeschooling, or you're finding people that have a community already established. And I know that there are communities here and there around Africa, and I'm going to put together a list in the description box. You can also check it there. All the list of the communities that I know in Africa, I'm going to put a link there for you to find the one that is closest to you, right? And then there are also homeschooling events that happen in Africa. There are not a lot of them. I know that I run one yearly, and I know of another one in Kenya, and those are the only two that I know that run yearly. Hopefully, as the homeschooling community keeps growing in Africa, we'll have more and more of this kind of events that will help homeschoolers to homeschool better. So yeah, after you find a community, do not stop learning, because learning does not stop. No knowledge is wasted. Read books, find books, and maybe in one of my next videos, I'll do a couple of homeschooling books that have helped me on my journey. So find books, talk to other parents, talk to other people that are currently homeschooling and people that are not even homeschooling, to find out what is obtainable in their children's schools. What are they learning? How are they learning? So don't ever feel like you have it all figured out to stop learning. Yeah. So if you like this video, please subscribe to this channel. I'm bringing more homeschooling content in our context. I hope you really do like this video. Subscribe and please share to somebody that needs this video and wants to start homeschooling this year. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.